And so the time had finally arrived. That moment in time that this young man, Joseph, was anticipating. He knew that God had something going on. And the moment in time would happen, and he thought it was when he interpreted that dream for the butler. Because he told the butler, he said, remember me to Pharaoh when you get up there in the palace. But the butler, he didn't do it. And so now 2 years have passed. Pharaoh has had a dream. And when he woke up from the dream, he was very, very troubled about the dream. And when he went back to sleep, he had another dream. And when he finally awoke, he knew there was something about this dream. It was very much affecting his emotions and everything else. And so he did what kings and pharaohs in those days would do. He called all of his magicians and all of his sorcerers and all of his astrologers and all the wise men. And he called them all together and he said, this is the dream. You interpret it for me. But they could not. And of course, that was a very disturbing thing in the palace when the king is not happy. Because when the king is not happy, he does things like he did to the baker. And so they were all in great fear. But about that time, the butler, he had to own up to something. Because he didn't tell Pharaoh about this young Hebrew man down there in the king's prison. And now he's thinking, should I tell him about this? Will it go good for me or will it go bad for me? And he decided, I better speak up here. So he told the Pharaoh, he says, you remember when you threw me and the baker in the prison? Well, there was a young man there who interpreted our dreams for us. It went well for me, but remember, it didn't go well for the baker. Well, that young man, he was absolutely right in his interpretation of our dreams. Well, when Pharaoh heard that, he says, go fetch him. Fetch him. And so he sent an emissary down to the king's prison. And here's this young man who's been thinking about this. Just thinking about it. Thinks, when's that time going to come? When's it going to happen? I know something's going to happen because God has given me these dreams and I've seen glimpses of the future. When's it going to happen? You see, you've been in that type of situation. I've been in that type of situation. It seems like things just never work out. And then all of a sudden, it's just there. It's just there. And sometimes you're just stunned and not sure exactly what to do. But you see, I think that Joseph had thought about this. I think he thought it through. And I believe he had a plan. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.